Gerald Frederick Higgins, Sergeant Flight Engineer, Royal Canadian Air Force. William Howard Keyes, Bombardier, Royal Canadian Artillery. Gerald Levesque, Lance Corporal, Royal Canadian Veterans. George William Lindsay, Leading Air Craftsman, Royal Canadian Air Force. Donald Henry Manson, Pilot Officer, Royal Canadian Air Force. Arthur Ordway, Quartermaster, Canadian Navy. Michael Patrick, Pilot Officer, Royal Canadian Air Force. Richard Price, Gunner, Royal Canadian Artillery. James Orville Rice, Air Gunner, Royal Canadian Air Force. Severe Eugene Rual, Sergeant, Royal Canadian Infantry Corps. Samuel Gustav Sutherland, Flying Officer, Royal Air Force. Ray Marshall West, Private, Royal Canadian Infantry Corps.
These young men who stand before you are the same age as the majority of the men that went off to fight in that terrible war. Many of these were of the same age of our 24 fallen. And some of the 24 fallen were also dynamiters. Nearly 1 in 4 fighting age men from this country went off to fight in World War II. Far too many paid with their lives. On September 23rd in this year, a man 107 years old was lost. He was one of the best. Major Jim Ashworth retired, served with honor during World War II in both the RAF and the RCAF, piloting the legendary Hurricane fighter aircraft. Over his remarkable career that included surviving 54 combat flights, Jim dedicated 26 years to the Air Force. Thank you, sir. Rest easy. Your duty is done. Please join me as we observe 2 minutes of silence. this, the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, we have placed 11 candles on the step in front of the cenotaph. With respect, they signify the 1,142,000 Canadians that went off for World War II. Each candle represents 100,000 men, and the center candle has been raised to signify the 42,000 that did not come home. Saying that goes through far too quickly. We hope you'll be able to reflect on the magnitude of what that actually is. At this time, it is a great honor and privilege to introduce World War II veteran Malcolm Sykes, who answered the call to serve in 1943 at the age of just 18 years old. Mac enlisted in the Canadian Armed Forces and soon transferred to the Royal Canadian Air Force. He served in England as both radio operator and paratrooper. He earned his jump wings in 1945 and volunteered for duty in Japan. However, before he was able to deploy to the Pacific, Japan surrendered. Upon coming home, Mac proudly marched with the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion here in Canada. Today, at 100 years young, over 8 decades later, Mac joins us to honor and remember all the boys who served in World War II and those who never came home. He will now recite one of the most powerful and enduring poems of the Second World War.
For the fallen, by Lawrence Benyon. With proud thanksgiving, a mother for her children, England mourned for her dead across the sea. Flesh of her flesh, they were spirit of her spirit, fallen in the cause of the free. Song, the drums drill, death loudest and royal, sing sorrow into the immortal spheres. There is music in the midst of desolation, and a glory that shines upon our tears. They went songs to the battle, they were young, straight of limb, true of eye, stayed in the glow. They were staunch to the end against odds and ends. They fell with their faces to the floor. They shall go not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. They mingle not with their laughing comrades again. They sit no more at familiar tables of old. They have no lot in our labor of the taker. They sweep the is a wellspring that has risen from sight to the innermost part of their own land. They are known as the stars are known to the night. As the stars that can be bright, and when we are dust, moving two marches upon the heavenly plain, as the stars that are starry in the time of our darkness, to the end they remain. We will remember them.
Thank you, Matt. Just before you go back to your seat,
I'd like to ask Cindy Posnikoff from Military Ames to approach and share our gratitude.
Military Ames Society presents this certificate of honor with the utmost gratitude. Thank you for your service and the sacrifices you and your generation made for our freedom. Reaching 100 years is a remarkable milestone. You're an inspiration to us all. Years ago, you took to the skies and earned your jump wings, a symbol of bravery and service that still shines today. It's an honor to present you with this pin in recognition of your extraordinary life and the courage and commitment that followed you. We thank you and we salute you.
absolutely incredible. I would now like to welcome
Chaplain Paul Brandon, E3 Navy Corpsman, retired, to lead us in the prayer and blessing.
Heavenly Father, on this day of remembrance, we pause to honor all who have served in times of war and peace. We remember with gratitude those who did not return. Your sacrifice grants us the freedom that we cherish. We hold close those who did not come home, but for whom the war never truly ended. Grant them comfort, healing, and peace in their hearts. May we never forget the cost of our liberty, and may our lives reflect the gratitude we only believe. That peace be there
the legacy, and our promises that Jesus made to them. Thank you, Paul. We will now commence with the short list of wreaths of remembrance. On behalf of the Government of Canada, in representation of World War I, World War II, and Korea, Kevin Seward and family. On behalf of the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, and in the memory of the 1,142,000 Canadians who went off to that war, and the 42,000 men who did not return home, Captain Clarence Burr, retired. On behalf of Mothers of Soldiers, proud mother of a soldier, Michelle Fuga. On behalf of peacekeepers, Warrant Officer Dave Bryn, retired. On behalf of all Vietnam veterans, we recognize and honor more than 30,000 Canadians who crossed the border to serve during the Vietnam War. Special Forces Sergeant Doug Prentice, retired. On behalf of Métis veterans, Superintendent Kevin Murray, retired. On behalf of military aims, recognizing all who have served and continue to suffer, Cindy Posnikoff. On behalf of the Legislative Assembly, Siobhan Staplin. On behalf of the City of Kimberley, Mayor Don McCormick. On behalf of the Kimberley RCMP, Detachment Commander Dan Biggs. On behalf of the Kimberley Fire Department, Chief Will Booth. On behalf of the Kimberley Ambulance Service, Grant Farquhar. I would like to invite the wreath for Kimberley Search and Rescue. On behalf of the Kimberley Pipe Band, Jerry Simmons. On behalf of the Knights of Columbus, Warren Neeson and Cecil Morissette. On behalf of the Kimberley Elks Social House, Nuita Chauffeur. On behalf of the Kimberley Seniors Association, Linda Johnson. On behalf of the Kimberley Rotary Club, Kevin Redell. On behalf of Harry Ordway, daughter Elva Fever. On behalf of the Catholic Women's League, Melissa Maguet and Louise Gottschalk. At this time, I would like to invite anyone else wishing to lay a wreath to please do so. join us for God Save the King. God save our gracious King. God save our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. Lord, save the King. We would like you to join in as we acknowledge and remember those who have served honorably. Please keep your honorable mention to name and branch of service or area of service.
Royal Canadian Air Force, Julie Mackenzie, HMCS Security, Chris Saunders, Miles Selby, Canadian Snowworks,
Captain Craig Quigley, 56 Field Engineer Squadron.
Private Kevin McCarty, Chris Patricia Schneeler.
Warren Knudsen, Royal Canadian Air Force.
Corporal Brad Bowen, First Battalion, BBC Hawaii.
Malcolm Sykes.
Chester Reed Day, grandfather, military police, First World War.
Bertram Brandon, Royal Canadian Army.
Harry Ruppel, Royal Canadian Navy.
John Brennan, World War II, RCAF.
Sergeant Donald Doucette, RCAF.
Sergeant Renald Mayana, 22nd Regiment.
Alain Veilleux,
435 Squadron Transport and Tactical, 25 years. Thank you.
Andrew Laternis, Air Force, Eddie Laternis.
Army, Chester Knox, Army.
Alvin Arsenault, Canadian Navy, World War II.
see me going by, just wave.
Robert Hutchison, Canadian, Scottish infantry veteran, World War II.
Edward James Miller, Royal Canadian. Alfred Joseph Godolphin, Navy.
Cadet Officer, or correction, Officer First Class Willis Arthur Fife, United States Navy, World War II.
Lieutenant Andrew Nuttall, Sergeant John Fott, Private Tyler Todd, 1 PPC Line, Task Force 309, Afghanistan. Sapper Steve Marshall, 1 CER, Task Force 309, Afghanistan. And Sergeant George Mion, Operational Mentoring Liaison Team, Task Force 309, Afghanistan.
Mabel Zucker, Women's Army Corps, World War II.
Ronald McKay, Air Force. My grandfather,
Alexander Rickelson, Royal British Army, 1914 to 1918.
Sorry, I got an extra speaker because we're trying to allow as many people to hear as possible.
Georgetown Air Force, World War II.
Dr. Richard G. Royal Air Force Medical Corps.
I can't come in front of the speaker, just so you know.
Charles Seaton, Royal Air Force. Betty Seaton, Women's Auxiliary Air Force. John Seaton,
Arthur Kanishana, Canadian Tank Corps.
Delco Graham, 1 PPC line.
Edgar Green, Service Corps, right over there, Gunner Green, First Class CHA.
Granddad, Douglas Martin, and his brothers, the Royal Canadian Force.
Staff Sergeant Hubert Marin, Royal Canadian Engineers in the Second World War, and 17th Field Squadron here in Kimberley.
Rear Admiral Robert Philip Llewellyn,
Royal Canadian Navy.
Ernest Henry Harris, 13th Battalion, Calgary Highlanders.
If anyone is hesitating because their veteran was part of a different military or anything like that, we have no borders. All names are welcome. We want to remember.
My uncle Jim Harris is from the family.
Cook, Claire, they're all three. Charlie Ross.
Mike Foster, Private Robert Wickham, Glengarry Highlanders.
Grandfather, Clematis, Virginia, Patrick Stones. The child, the Princess Island Grade.
Lieutenant Colonel Reed, Lord Stratton.
My grandfather, Private Arthur Allen Kendrick.
You set, First Airborne Regiment, Edmonton, Alberta.
Corporal Maurice Rolla, Infantry of France, 1940 to 45, and Yvette Rolla, Underground, French Underground.
Tego Rita and Alfred, who died in elderly age in a concentration camp for loyalty and resistance in the underground newspaper.
Nicole Steele, Royal Military College. And Kevin Mason, 416 Tactical Fighter Squad. Grandpa Joe Hetherington, 8th Rank 14th Canadian Hussars out of Stoufford, Saskatchewan. And Grandma Audrey Hetherington, War Bride, and registered UK Women's League, BTS.
Father, Henry James Allen, Canadian Air Force.
Glenn Chauffeur, Royal Canadian Air Force, World War II.
Bill Shear, Royal Canadian Air Force, Gunner, World War II.
Rodney Cameron, Army.
Gerald Moore, 450 Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Force.
Ted Carr, Peter Nicole, Sean,
Sven Sondergaard, Royal Canadian Air Force, World War II.
As with every year, we put a great deal of effort into engaging the community and in keeping the memories of our veterans alive. A lot of thought and care went into the display that you see here. Those you can't see here, you will be able to. In past years, we have left it up after the service, and unfortunately, some of the items have gone missing. This year, we want to give everyone the opportunity to spend time here and reflect on the effort and meaning of the display and the sacrifices that were made to get us here. In previous years, we've always felt a sense of incompleteness when we had to remove everything right after the service. To allow more time and contemplation, we will be keeping the display in place until 2:30. We will have security on site. We kindly ask that you do not touch or remove any items that do not belong to you. Anyone else wishing to leave their wreaths can either wait until 2:30 or pick them up whenever their fields are ready. We can only take responsibility for the items that belong to military aims, but we thank everyone for your respect and understanding as we do our greatest effort to honor those who have served. We would like to acknowledge that the Kimberley Elk Social Club are once again providing the Remembrance Day Community Lunch, a wonderful example of community spirit and generosity. Everyone is welcome. My word for this year is sacrifice. Sacrifice is an experience, not a birthright. And in that vein, I have a common story that I'd like to share. A man served in the military, and upon returning home, built a legacy in his community. The following generations of his family benefited from his legacy, born of those sacrifices, but carried it in his family name. Generations later, a young man had gotten into trouble and was in an alternative justice program. I was fortunate to be involved in this particular event, albeit from the other side of the table. Through the process, I came to a place of enlightenment and was able to share that this young man was more than his family name, and that he was able to forge a life of his own sacrifices and write his own legacy. This young man rose up, has worked to fulfill his own future, and worked towards writing his own name and reputation. Rather than lean on the sacrifices of his grandfather, he honors that sacrifices and reinforces the family legacy. So within that, my belief is the sacrifices of those who have gone before are not ours to use. My uncle, my dad, my grandfather. They had their reasons, but it was their sacrifices, not ours. So I want to invite everyone to go forth and build your legacy. Sacrifice for the values that you hold dear. For the best future, be an example of a world that we can be proud of. Examples are all around us. From all those who gave their lives abroad and at home, everyone standing here, especially good parents that give so much, and mentors. The examples are endless. Some choose a profession of service, paid or not. Sacrifice becomes part of our existence. The depth of sacrifice is understood through the experience of sacrifice. So each of us has to learn it for ourselves. I know this year's been a little bit longer, and I was kind of concerned, but the weather has been more than cooperative. So as you go through your day, we hope you will pause and remember those who have and continue to make sacrifices for the freedoms we all enjoy. Remember those 42,000 Canadians in the Second World War who fought for all of us and gave their lives for each and every one of us. The sons, brothers, husbands, fathers that never came home. Memory fades without us. We ask that you remember between Novembers. That's it. The rest is up to you.